Welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break, Spotlight on Lakerholics. Gerald, right away, I blew it by not. I applied the last broadcast settings, thinking it would apply the last broadcast settings of our last broadcast, and I think what it actually did was apply the settings from Joe's. Oh man, what am I doing here? From Joe's late night with Joe Soros. So that's my bad. I apologize. So anyway. Tom and I are here to talk about. There's nothing really to talk about in Lakerland. It's boring as always. Everything, straight shooting.
Wait, what about the massive celebration the other day? I mean, there was a special show on Lakers Fast Break about the firing of Darvin Ham.
Oh, right. I forgot, Tom. You're right. Absolutely, I forgot. The Lakers fired another head coach.
I mean, the silver lining in the entire season is the firing of Darvin Ham, finally.
Is it really? I mean, let's think about this. And so, okay, first off, let's start by saying I don't think anybody on the podcast is a massive Darvin Ham fan, right? Nobody here is like, oh man, he was the next Phil Jackson. Having said that, and you could tell that he lost a good chunk of the locker room by the end of the season this year, unlike last season. He had gotten to almost Frank Vogelian, something like that, levels of I'm doing it my way, come hell or the highway. Yeah. And that's
two guys who show a stubborn streak that
doesn't do many favors.
Consider in the next coach.
Well, and it doesn't do you favors in the locker room, right? The locker. It's funny when these player coach, like with Vogel, I could almost understand it. He had never played the game. He came up through kind of how Spo did, through like video, through analytics, through studying the game. Great. Darvin's played.
Yep.
He knows that you have to be able to adjust on, he should have known that you have to be able to adjust on the fly. That that the plan that you came up with yesterday morning at coffee with your coaches might go sideways, that you might need to adjust in the third quarter, the fourth quarter, the first quarter, any of the quarters, every quarter. The other coach might figure out what you're doing and then give you much props for it in his post-game interviews about what a wonderful coach you are because he owns you. Right. So I never felt like Darvin made that. He never took that step in growth as a coach. And maybe that's what he would have done. Maybe he would have taken that step as a head coach had we given him another season. I don't know. I'm personally.
I think that the problems that Darvin had are fatal. That ultimately, it's not necessarily. Everything is always dependent upon the context that you drop a coach into, the players that he gets, the front office that is going to support him, the whole philosophy and so forth, and. What struck me about Darvin is that he really didn't have a system. He had worked for Bud and basically he was doing the same type of drop coverage and pretty much principally the same type of things that he had done successfully as an assistant coach with him, but he really didn't have he wasn't like Mike D'Antoni's an offensive coach or he really didn't have anything.
Or even Frank Vogel, who's a defensive coach.
He's had on other than guys would bust down and break the walls to play for him.
Yeah.
That's what I liked at the beginning, because I really felt like the guys would go out and really wanted to play hard for him. But the problem is that when you lose the guys, they're no longer playing hard for you.
No.
And it's tough because in a team like the Lakers, these are guys who are playing for their careers and they're also playing for their own glory, their own legacies and so forth. So they're going to go out and do what they want to do on the court. And when you got LeBron James, it's even worse than anything else because he is the ultimate coach on the court. And so it is a tough situation. And Darvin, to that extent, I think, was not a good fit. And that is probably the most disappointing thing about it, that you'd think that Rob Pelinka, having gone through all of the turmoil with Frank, that he would have been looking at and seeing how stubborn Frank was about, you didn't give me the guys that I wanted, and so dang it, I'm going to play the guys that I want to play, and we're going to play the way I want to play, not the way that you designed the team. I'm the coach. And at least I thought Ham and Pelinka got off to a good start in that I saw some cooperation, some consensus put together. So the coach was involved in building the team. And that's why I was a very strong supporter, because I thought I liked that they gave him freedom to do things. They didn't force a veteran head coach as his assistant and things like that. And I thought those were all smart moves that showed some growth and acknowledgement by the front office of what they'd done wrong in the previous coaching decision. But during the year, it became obvious to me that Pelinka was sitting down and telling him what to do in certain situations with the rotations, because Ham was not figuring it out himself.
Well, so to that, I've got a couple of things I'd like to add on to all that. First of all, I think you're absolutely right. I think that, and first off, Kurt, Tom is wearing all black to mourn the loss of Darvin Ham. He's, I don't even know if he realizes he's wearing all black, but I think
all black is one of my favorite things.
Oh, okay. That's the
it's funny. It's funny, just as a little background on this.
Sure.
I grew up in the fashion business. I spent 20 years manufacturing leather jackets and garments in Hong Kong and Korea and Taiwan and so forth, and knocking off stuff in Europe and so forth. And I found as I got older now, basically, I look for stuff that I can put in my closet that I can put on every day and not have to worry about what outfit I'm wearing. So I got a lot of black T-shirts and a lot of jeans, and that's pretty much my standard operating procedure.
All right. Well, I'd like to welcome to the show El Rob, another Lakerholic, a Laker fast breaker, wearing a champion hat, which I appreciate seeing. Some good vibes for the future. How you doing this morning, El Rob?
Hey, Jamie, I am excellent, thank you. I am doing even better now that I'm hanging out with you and Laker Tom. That's always
Hey, Lee, good to see you, man.
So we heard Tom's thoughts on the firing of Darvin Ham. I haven't really weighed in yet. I think Tom put it pretty well in that, and some of the people in the chat, lack of trust between coach and players, lack of adjustments overall. Is there anything else you'd like to add or pontificate on in terms of the Darvin Ham, the releasing of Darvin Ham? I've got a slightly different outlook on it, but I'll save that for a minute here. I'd like to get your thoughts before I.
So I am not as down on Darvin Ham. I've been listening to people bellyache all season.
Yep.
About the coach.
Yep.
And that's every fan base. I mean, I listen to Phoenix Suns fans. They want their coach gone. You listen to, should be gone. I mean, he's only won 5 championships, but the game has passed him by. We got to get rid of Pop.
Right.
There's only probably about 3 or 4 fan bases that are really like, cool, let's keep our coach. You got Spoelstra. They're good with you got
Denver. Culture is not looking so sharp, though.
They're the world. Better than
us.
You got the world champ. So yeah, I'm not one that jumps on that. So, but in saying that, when Anthony Davis came out and said what he said,
after game 2 or 3,
that pretty much was the nail in the coffin. That was the one that if your best player is not on board and he feels bold enough to come out there and say they didn't know what they were doing, which really to me is more of an indictment on LeBron. LeBron's the one with the ball in his hands running the offense. He's the one that's just calling the play out, which maybe the coach should be the one that's telling them, no, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. But you trust your best players to execute and do what they think is, get a feel for the game and do what they see. So, but I mean, Laker fans, we can be insufferable.
Right? We are insufferable. Come on.
What coach is? I mean, Phil Jackson's not coming back to that door.
People bagged on Phil when he was here. Phil's triangle offense is a real.
He never calls time out and the triangle. And I mean, we had Mike Brown. He wasn't good enough. We
Wow.
had D'Antoni. He wasn't good enough. Byron.
No.
Vogel won a championship for you. Darvin
Oh.
Ham is a young coach, and he's learning, right? I evaluate coaches on a couple things. The big one to me is, did you play up to the level of your talent? Okay. Did you lose to a team that you should beat in the playoffs? Really, to me, I mean, I cut through everything else, but that's the bottom line. I was hoping the Lakers could win in this series, and I saw reasons why they could have if they would have, because Denver's not as good as they were last year.
Yeah, but we're not as good as Denver either.
Yeah, so I don't
we're
know
not as good as Denver.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna repeat. I would probably say the odds are they're not, to me. But they're still better than the Lakers, really, in reality. They're still better than the Lakers. So we lost to a team that was better than us. I mean, that to me. So who we're gonna bring in?
The way we lost is concerning.
That's true, very true. If you got a better coach to bring in, great, let's do it. But if you're telling me you're bringing in somebody, if you don't know who you're bringing in, and it's up in the air, and you're going to scramble, and you're going to go,
coach hunting.
Yeah, coach hunting. Jolening, hoping the Clippers say, "Please don't take our coach." Yeah. So the Lakers need to settle on a coach and give him a time to run things he wanted to run, and then tell the players, hey, this is the coach. We're not changing, so suck it up and play. Period. And if you don't think Darvin's that guy, great. But don't bring in this next coach and then after a year or two or halfway through the first year, fire the coach.
Agreed. I think so. That
means you got to do something different.
No. Hold on. Wait, Tom. I haven't said one word this whole morning yet. Give me a second here, man. Jeez Louise. I agree with both of you, right? Like, you both have made very salient points, and I think that the problem is not the coach. The problem wasn't the coaching under Frank Vogel. The problem wasn't really even the coaching under Luke Walton. The problem was the roster. The problem was the roster, and the other problem was
who's the problem for the roster? Who's responsible for the roster?
I'm getting there, aren't I? This is what I'm trying. This is my point I'm trying to make. If somebody will let me, named Laker Tom, on the upper left corner there. So this is the thing. Teflon Pelinka seems immune from criticism.
Yeah.
He's assembled all of these rosters. He's the one who had that press conference with Darvin Ham where he said, I learned my mistakes from how we worked it out with Frank. We didn't give Frank enough space. We didn't give Frank enough power to build his coaching staff the way he wanted to build it. We didn't empower Frank Vogel enough. So I fired him. Was the unspoken thing there, right? I didn't try to fix the situation. I just booted him out, and now I'm putting in somebody who I think is way better, except for that I don't actually believe that, and I'm not going to run the team that way either. I'm going to empower LeBron James. I'm going to empower AD. I'm going to empower those two over the coach. And that speaks to what you're saying, L-Rob. What coach is going to be able to coach LeBron James in this situation? And I don't think there is a first-year coach. I don't care if his name is Rajon Rondo. I don't care if it's JJ Redick getting drunk with him on a podcast. None of that matters in the game. Not one of those things will enter in LeBron's mind when he thinks a coach should challenge something and he doesn't. He's going to flip out on the court like he did. He's going to have a moment where because I get it, dude. The dude's coming up on 40. He wants to win. He's a highly competitive individual, and so he knows the clock is ticking better than anybody else. And to what degree there's time left on it, in his mind anyway. And this is the problem. This is the insurmountable problem the Lakers are facing right now, is that the GM doesn't have the cojones to deal with LeBron James. He might have the cojones to deal with AD, maybe, if LeBron wasn't there. But nobody in the Laker organization has any idea how to handle LeBron James. They think he's Kobe. He is not. He is not Kobe Bryant. He is not somebody who you have stuck by through God knows what over the course of his career, in the face of all levels of scrutiny, through the good times and the bad. That is not the relationship that LeBron James has with the Laker organization. It is simply not that. He is looking to close out his career with a win. That's it. It ends there. Anybody who's telling themselves otherwise is fooling themselves, because that is not the situation we find ourselves in today. There is nobody in the organization, not Jeannie. Nobody can stand up to LeBron because to do so would invite the scrutiny and criticism of billions of people on planet Earth. This is the problem. You bring in a first-year head coach, you're just going to repeat this same process for the third time. This is going to be our fourth coach. This is our fourth coach in 7 years. 4 coaches. Didn't get 2 years. That's not building anything. That's not constructing anything. The turnover of the roster is legendary. We had one whole summer, last summer, where we kept most of the roster intact. That's it. Rob has no clue what he's doing. This is empirical evidence at this point. It's not me having an opinion or not liking Rob Pelinka or thinking his hair looks weird, which it does. We've seen what you're doing, which is every summer. It's not working. And so this has to be the last coaching search Rob Pelinka oversees. And if he's not man enough to step down, if he blows it, then somebody's got to fire him. That's my point. That's where I'm at. Blaming the coach over and over and over, blaming the role players on the roster over and over and over, that's weak. That's weak and it's childish. And stop doing it. Do your job. That's all I got.
No, I disagree completely.
No way. Get out of here.
It's funny, Lee. We were chatting before the show, saying that maybe we ought to do a special show where I do everything that Jamie normally does, and Jamie does everything that I normally do, except we do it seriously, so that people just get flipped over. What's going on? Listen, 2 things can be true.
Seinfeld.
2 things can be true. The general manager can do a shitty job putting together the roster.
And he has.
And he can do a shitty job hiring the coach. So,
but wait, 4 times in a row.
None of us want to see a situation like we're in, where we've had multiple coaches here. And the problem is that we keep making the same types of mistakes with the coaches. And part of it is that we have this thing that is this Laker thing that you've got to have some sort of history with the team and some sort of relationship, some sort of connection to Kobe, or we're not going to hire you. You know, and we don't go out and do a search using the best hunters out there and the best personnel people. We don't go out and look at the situation like that. Instead, we stick with our own little close network of people that we know and people that Jeannie trusts and so forth. The one thing that really strikes me about this whole situation is that we keep hiring guys who just they're missing one thing. They're missing that sort of great leadership charisma that you saw with Pat Riley, that you see with certain coaches that are out there now on the job. And I think we have an opportunity. I was impressed as hell with the article that Eric Pincus wrote supporting JJ. I've never been a huge fan of JJ's. And
what impressed you? I didn't read the article. What did he say that so wowed you, Tom?
What impressed me is that I've always really trusted and liked the objectiveness of Eric Pincus in his writing, that he never injects his own opinions into situations. He's generally pretty straightforward as far as being objective, and yet he went all out on this situation. And I have that sort of the same thing. I mean, I went and watched all 6 of those podcasts with LeBron, and man, I am impressed with JJ Redick. I'm impressed with his rapport with LeBron. I'm impressed with his understanding of the game. I'm impressed with the way that he conducts the conversations and the way that he held that podcast. And he strikes me as the kind of coaching hire that could be the second coming of Riles. You know, he's a guy who has the charisma, I think, and the mind, sort of the strategic mind and general sense of the whole game to really be a long-term coach for the Lakers. And that's what we haven't gotten. We've gotten placeholders. We haven't gotten anybody who's really excited yet about what kind of coach this guy. We haven't gotten anybody who's been inspirational, other in the sense that Darvin is a guy that everybody wants to run through the wall for. Well, that doesn't work when Darvin's choosing the wrong guys to run through the wall and using the wrong strategies to figure out how to win games. So I like the fact that I'm happy that I'm thrilled that Ty Lue doesn't want the job, because I don't want Ty Lue. I don't want a retread coach going through there again. I want somebody who can start fresh and who can really have a big enough vision to carry this whole thing. Because when Pelinka hired Ham, and basically aligned the front office with the coach to do away with the problems that we had with Frank, I really was impressed with that whole idea, and I felt, okay, great. It's all up on the Ham. Ham has to be the guy who can inspire, who can really be the charisma that can lead the team. And he wasn't able to do that simply because he couldn't put the schemes and choose the right players and make the right decisions to be able to do that. I think the odds are looking strong that Redick could be the answer for the Lakers. And I would be thrilled to see them go in a fresh new direction like that.
Well, Laker time, like
everybody who's go and watch 6 hours
when
talking, and you can get a good idea of. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking that LeBron James went into this podcast with JJ Redick, and slowly that evolved into a strategy for who is going to be the next coach for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, I just want to add that Phil Handy did not survive the transition, so this aspect of Eric Pincus's article did not age very well.
Well, but it could, because he could obviously come back and say that I would like to talk to some of these people, and he may well do that. Whoever gets the job may well do that.
We had to talk him into staying when we fired Vogel. I don't think he's coming back.
I wouldn't if I were. I would. Phil probably feels like having stock.
Anyway, I think that's looking at it as impossibly optimistic as possible. I think that we are ignoring, again, the lessons learned. Did Luke Walton ever reach LeBron James? No. Did Darvin Ham ever reach LeBron James? No. Frank Vogel was able to, with the help of stellar veterans on the roster, guys like Danny Green, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, on the court, was able to funnel things in a direction that helped them win a championship through defense. I don't think that, look, neither Rondo or Redick has even been a bottom tier assistant on a bench in the NBA. They've just played. JJ Redick sits around a table on a studio set and gets drunk with LeBron. These are not qualifications. These are not.
How much of those 6 hours have you watched?
I've watched all 6 of those hours. And just because you could sit down and after studying something with the luxury of time and saying, cut, let's go back and reshoot that. That's not a qualification. That means you're good on TV. This is like trying to argue that Ronald Reagan was a great president just because he looked good and spoke good. No, these are not qualifications. These are desperate attempts at expertise. And I disagree completely. I do not want another first-year head coach. I do not want another person who LeBron's going to have to say, no, this is how this works. Because once that happens, one time, that relationship is done. Once LeBron decides, I'm smarter than you, I know more than you, you don't know what you're doing, I'm better off leading this team how I want, it's over. It's over.
I don't think that at all. I think LeBron is very coachable.
I think he's coachable if he respects the coach. He respects Ty Lue.
He's coachable if the coach knows what they're doing.
Okay. Well, this is first-year head coaches often don't know what they're doing. All right. Does anybody else want to add anything on to the? I would like to thank Darvin Ham for the magnificent Western Conference Finals run last season. There wasn't much to thank you for this season, unfortunately. I thought you blew it with your rotations and your timeouts. I don't know why you buried Rui Hachimura on the bench all season long. Although, in your defense, Rui Hachimura tended to disappear in the playoffs this summer or this April. So maybe you saw something that we don't see, although Torian Prince isn't much better. So that's all I have to say about Darvin Ham. Anybody got anything else?
Well, I will say, like you said, last year was to be dealt the Russell Westbrook hand, and the way he handled it, I thought was commendable. And the guys played hard. Pretty much what Tom said. Last year was a success.
Yeah.
This year, I'm with you. Rotations. The one thing that kind of irks me though is people was upset with him handling. I agree on starting Prince over Rui. I did not like that. But Austin Reeves, and why didn't you come back and run with the same starting lineup from? It's like, dude, Austin Reeves came back from those summer games. He didn't have anything. I mean, he was like terrible for the first month of the season. I mean, he was
as was D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, shooting subs 30%. So what is the coach supposed to do? A coach is supposed to try to make some moves, shake things up till he gets a lineup that's working. And it took a lot longer, but the biggest reason why that is because your backcourt was playing like trash.
Yeah,
so you had to do something. So yeah, when people go back to, hey, how come you didn't just come back with this starting lineup? It was the most successful. Why did it take you so long to get that? I'm not part of that.
I tend to agree. I thought that, I agree. I hoped that Reeves. I think that this was actually kind of a plateau season for Austin Reeves. I wanted to see him take a step forward, and I never really saw that step forward. He was about the best version of himself that we saw at the end of the year last year, except for that he then developed this annoying habit of fishing for fouls on every drive into the paint that just drove me mad. It was like, just shoot your shot, bro. Shoot your shot.
Say his defense improved a lot, and
his defense improved a lot.
His defense was much better. When teams were trying to go at him, he stood his ground, and he
lots of practice.
You know
what? I think if losing Darvin Ham means that we have for sure lost Phil Handy, it might not be worth it. I think Phil Handy and the coaching development staff of the Lakers, and this is the thing, I think Darvin Ham would have been a perfect coach for the Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball Lakers. Somebody who would have been like, you guys are doing great. Keep playing hard. You guys just go, right? And a guy like Phil Handy saying, this is how you shoot a jump shot. This is how you shoot a jump shot. This is how you move your feet on defense. Look what they did with Hayes. Hayes' turnaround in season is considerable. He went from, this guy's probably out of the league, to I could see somebody offering him $5-8 million this summer. He priced his way potentially off the Lakers unless we want to give him the MLE. I doubt he's picking up his player option and coming back for whatever it is, 2-2, 2-3.
Right.
Anyway, I losing Handy. Kurt, you're right. Handy was he wasn't let go. He just wasn't going to come back, and we had to, I think, pay him more money or something. And I don't see him coming back now. I think he's gone. And so whoever's coming in is going to bring. Oh God, I knew somebody was going to mention this. It's your favorite, Tom. Jared Dudley. Oh yes. Let's bring Jared Dudley.
I love Jared Dudley as the 15th man, but that's about the only thing I like him.
All right. Hey, we agree. We agree. Show's over. Yeah, Tom and I agree. All right.
Yeah, let me offer a rebuttal with Tom and JJ Redick. I don't know how watching his podcast for 6 hours gives you insight on how he's going to handle the pressure of Lakers fans.
Well, no, what it does.
Snoop going on Twitter saying Redick don't know what he's doing. Get rid of him. Or Laker fans screaming at him inside of the arena.
It's the interchange with LeBron James and the obvious high basketball intelligence that JJ has.
JJ said Larry Bird didn't face as much physicality as Steph Curry.
Oh, he's crazy. I don't know. He's just
that's his view of basketball.
I know. He's
kind of lost me with some of the
that's just.
You didn't believe that, you're saying?
No, when you make as many proclamations and have so many opinions as somebody like JJ Redick does, then you're obviously.
I don't want opinions. I want expertise. I don't want opinions. I want expertise.
The best thing he got going for him is LeBron will be happy. So if we want
Really?
LeBron happy and you want to kowtow to him, hire JJ Redick, and let's hope LeBron can get the rest of the guys to buy in.
Well, let's talk about the coaching. What other candidates are you guys interested in? Then, if you don't like Redick, who else are you interested in? Obviously,
from the beginning. I'm not a Bud fan. I mean,
I don't think Bud will come here after we fired Darvin Ham. They were on the Bucks together. They won a championship together. It would be really weird if we hired Coach Bud after we hired Darvin Ham. It would be like, oh, everything about the guy was great except for we want Mike Budenholzer instead. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's either going to be, I would prefer, even though he's never won a championship, I would prefer Terry Stotts because I actually thought he did as good a job as you could do in Portland.
I'd like him as the lead. I'd like him as the lead assistant.
No. Listen, there's a weird thing in America these days where for some reason expertise and knowledge is frowned upon. There's some weird thing in this country where if you have previous experience, you must be flawed. It happens all the time, except for when people go to get their cars fixed or call a plumber. That expertise is wonderful. But when it comes to things like sport or politics or like running a corporation, oh, this guy's got a fresh news. He's never done it before. He has a fresh outlook. No, he wants a job. It's as simple as that. He wants a job. He wants to get off the sidelines of blathering next to Mike Breen and I forget. It's not right. Anyway, I forget the other lady on the. There's a trio of them that replaced Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. But
another bad decision. But okay,
that was a terrible decision by ESPN. But again, we want a fresh new outlook. These guys are too pricey, is what that really means.
Yeah.
I just don't understand this fear of knowledge, this fear of expertise, as if because I don't get it. I want somebody who's gone through something before to do the thing. Yeah. Would you put a private in charge of an army? Oh, we need a fresh outlook.
That's not the same thing.
Yes, it is the same thing. Yes, it exactly is the same thing. You are taking a first-year coach and saying, you've got what it takes, buddy.
There's a lot of first-year coaches who've done a great job.
I'm trusting my guy.
The problem is you have enough balls to choose a first-year coach who can do a great job.
I'm sorry.
And we haven't had a person to be able to pick one. And we haven't had a candidate who is really even one of those candidates.
Darvin Ham, first-year coaches. We just had a first-year coach. You're making a point that is insane.
You're just trying to. You're pulling comparisons out of the air that don't make any sense because it all comes down to the individual. There's no reason that a first-year coach can't be as successful as any other coach, and there are 100 examples of that all over sports.
Okay, that have not been on a bench. That have not been on a bench. That have not been part of a coaching staff.
Sure.
I don't think that have. You find me one.
Give us some.
Pat Riley. Pat Riley was Paul Westphal when they won a championship. Pat Riley is not an example.
Pat Riley was a coach for 2 months. Assistant coach for 2 months.
He went through a period of time where he was an assistant coach on a winning team. Okay. Anyway.
Who else?
Redick has been in coaching huddles for 15 years, playing in the league. He has the intelligence. He has the charisma. He has the judgment to be a head coach.
Yeah, I say.
Will he make mistakes as a first-year head coach? I'm sure.
That's not the mistakes I'm worried about.
He'll have judgment ability and ability to reach the players and to put together a comprehensive organization that other people haven't been able to do. He's going to get the job as the Lakers' next head coach. You watch.
I'm going to be rooting for him as hard as anyone. So I hope he is successful, and I hope he can do all of this.
Listen, I said the same thing about Darvin Ham when he was hired, and I rooted for him.
Yeah,
I rooted for him to be successful, and I supported him for a good portion of the season.
For the Lakers to get back to where we want to go, we need some guys who are very good defenders.
Yep.
So the only hope we have of getting back to where we want to go is picking up somebody, maybe a big man who is a very good defender, or for Gabe Vincent to get back to how he played with Miami. We saw glimpses of him turning the corner, but we have to have some guys who bring those intangibles to the table. It's great to have the scoring and all the flash stuff, but you need the intangibles that Vandy Bill brings, that Gabe brings. You need, the stuff that Dwight Howard brought. You need those type of players if you're going to win a championship. But we can kiss any chances we really have, any hopes we really have of winning a championship this year. It's not going to happen because our guys are going to be out playing somewhere halfway across the country for a month. And they do not have the bodies to be able, at this stage of the career, for Anthony Davis and LeBron James to be taxing their bodies right now. To me, it pretty much forfeits next season's championship. So enjoy it. Hopefully they win an Olympic gold. They can hang out.
Right.
LeBron can do his last time around with the gang. Him and KD and all the old guys can hang out together and have fun. The college reunion, but you're killing any chance you have of actually being a champion because you can't put that extra strict tread on your tires. You got to pay for it. Sometimes you got to pay the piper at his stage and AD stage of their careers.
Well, there's another thing happening too, which is that I just saw a friend of mine posted that 4 of the top payroll teams are already out in the first round. This is a changing of the guard like we've never seen before. And it always takes 2 or 3 years for the whole thing to unravel and the whole world to suddenly have a different look. But it's happening, and it's happening right now. Older stars and older teams are giving way to younger stars and younger teams. And I also think you can see the game changing. You can see the future of the game in these guys in Wembanyama and players that are length. You're not going to see in the NBA of the next future 10 years, you're not going to see 6'1" guards doing anything anymore. You listen, no matter what you say, you better be Iverson if you want to.
It's always going to be an Iverson time.
There's like 5 Iversons in the league right now.
Yeah,
Halliburton's like what, 6'2"?
Not
even that tall.
Have you seen what happens to these guys when they're standing around and you've got guys like Chet and guys like Wemby who are just so doggone long? I mean, they block shots from people without even jumping. I mean, the league is changing, and one of the things that the challenge that the Lakers have is that I don't care how good you are this year, you're going to have to be a lot better next year to do better than you did this year. And we're getting older of our 2 stars, and they need to do something big, or the next 2 years or 3 years of LeBron's career are going to be disappointing years. So I think the Lakers have to go all in, and there's an interesting situation going on that intrigues me a little bit, which is that the Bulls are so down on Zach LaVine that they're apparently willing to salary dump him without a pick. Would the Lakers think about the Lakers taking a deal where they could keep all of those draft picks that they were going to use for the superstar, they were going to use for Trae Young and so forth? What if they just traded straight over for LaVine and then use those picks to go out and get a
basketball at any point of his career?
I mean, I don't know if I would do it because
yes to that.
The problem is if you sign a $40 million guy, you really have no money left for anybody else.
This is we all know this is coming, right? This is the debate that's coming this summer. We're just putting it off for
third star, or go out and get a point of attack defender and a
third star or
center.
better team, always better team. We've seen it in the playoffs. Better team.
Worker guys. We don't need any shiny object.
Well, the good thing is it appears that the front office is backing off of the third superstar thing, at least in looking now at maybe what they need is to get a point of attack defender and another shot blocker that can help AD. It's a difficult situation because I think the third star this year is when the second tax apron penalties take effect. So all of a sudden you're going to see the new CBA doesn't like 33 stars. And the difference between the Lakers signing a guy who's making $35 million and a guy for his $45 million is just night and day, you know. There's pathways to building a good team if you go out and get DeJounte Murray at the $35 million, you know. There's even better opportunities to go out and get a good team if you can grab a Miles Turner or a good center prospect like, you know, Jonathan Isaac for $20 million. You know, those really give you opportunities to add other players, you know, to go out and get a defender like Caruso or Lou Dort or something like that. Add that to the team, and you suddenly have a strong team, except for one thing, that you still at some point have got to replace LeBron James with another superstar.
Do you guys want D'Angelo Russell back? Do you want D'Lo back?
I think I do, but I don't think we're going to be able to afford him. I think.
You know what I think we do with D'Lo? I think we tell D'Lo, we're going to guarantee you a 3-year contract with a player option for $23 million a year. But that is a guarantee only if we can't sign and trade you to somebody else.
Well, if he signs that extension, he'll have veto power.
You don't have any. Oh yeah.
No, well, you don't even. He doesn't even have to sign the extension. All you have to do is. The thing you don't want to do is listen. Here's the situation. Who wants him? Orlando. Orlando's got all sorts of guys we could use, including Isaac, who would be terrific.
Somebody says Isaac is not a center, and I agree with that. But we don't need a center. AD is the center.
No,
everybody, including most importantly of all, Anthony Davis needs to get it into his head. He is a center.
Bullshit. He's not a center. He's a power forward. He's a power forward, and the Lakers need to have a second center.
That I won't disagree with.
Not a modern center. I would take that. They need a second big body in that starting lineup.
So at
any rate, so you know.
Top. You've got
to be able to trade D'Lo.
Okay.
If he walks,
we're not going to get into trades right now. I've got about 3 minutes before I got to go. Okay. So L-Rob has been trying to say something for about 10 minutes, but you just keep blathering on about trades. So we're not talking about trades. It's not summer season's still going. Nobody's traded nothing.
So can we pivot to these games that the teams?
I was going to say let's finish the season out and talk about. Yes, please.
These teams are still in there.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
So, Minnesota and Denver. I mean, man, that's going to be very intriguing. I think that's a coin toss. I really can't call it.
Who's stopping Ant-Man? Nobody.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the way McDaniels and
Ant-Man can stop himself. That's the only problem. Shot selection.
Yeah, but he's been playing very, very controlled. I was very impressed with his poise.
He's the next MJ
in the game. So that's going to be a great series.
I agree.
Yeah, Denver and OKC should be good. So, but I think Denver. I mean, the Dallas and OKC. Dallas is going to be in the Western Conference Finals. It looks like. I don't see.
Dallas made a great trade, and they did a trade the Lakers should have made. You know, I was so stupid.
Yeah.
I must have had 20 trades looking for Washington and about 50 trades looking for the center that they got. And they didn't even give them. They gave them a swap.
Tom, you throw so many trades out there. I mean, almost any trade that any team made, at some point you would have had to broach it I mean, I don't think it's possible to make a trade to be made that you didn't at least throw that out there. You cast a very wide net, my friend.
No, but there's a certain pattern to my trades that don't include everybody for obvious reasons. So
Is there?
Sure.
Is there?
I want bigs. I want big guys. I like bigs.
All right.
I like bigs, defensive guards who can defend point of attack, and centers who can, and big men who can stretch the court.
So all right, let's reel it back in. I know you love trades so very much. But I'm picking out of Dallas OKC. If Luka can play, I know his knee looks bad. He doesn't look like he's moving right, so I'm not so sure his knee's going to stand up to it. But if Luka can play, I pick Dallas. If he has to sit out a game or two, I think it actually swings to OKC. I just think at some point the inexperience level for OKC is going to kick in, and there's gonna be a moment where they're like, oh, this is really hard. And maybe not, SGA is ridiculously talented.
They match up pretty well. They match up.
I know. But like everybody on in Dallas has at least been to the playoffs, except for Lively, and there's guys that they can put in there that can, if he starts to fall apart, they can swap him out. They've got a lot of guys that work well with Luka and Kyrie.
I think OKC is going to win that in 6.
Kyrie's making me look an idiot because not only has he been on his best behavior, but he's balling out. And I have a coworker who's like, now do you wish we had traded for Kyrie? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. But I mean, at some point, I'm pretty sure he'll have a meltdown and say something crazy about who knows what. It doesn't matter. And I'll be like, no, I'm glad he's not on the team. In terms of Minnesota, Denver, I think that the Lakers, everybody's, like I said, everybody's been bagging on the Lakers because we blew 2 20-point leads, and Denver. I don't think Denver makes it past the second round. I think Minnesota's going to win that series. I really do. I think that Cat and Gobert are too much size for Denver to stop. Denver stopped us because they were bigger and stronger than us. They're not bigger and stronger than
Minnesota's got better defenders. So
Minnesota's got a much better perimeter defender, Mike Conley, than we had at any point of our series.
Well, it's the defenders that they have that can handle MPJ and
Anderson on Minnesota is also very underrated. He's great. He's a great role player.
Well, they have probably the best 4 defender in the league. You know.
Yeah. No, and Gobert's. Look, I do not like Rudy Gobert as a human being. I think he's kind of a moron.
Yeah.
That dude can play defense.
Right.
That dude is the anchor you want on a modern defensive team. Offensively, he has his limitations, but he can dunk the ball and rebound the ball. Those are 2 areas that Denver killed us in.
I think it's going to be Minnesota and Boston.
So
I think it's going to be Minnesota and New York.
So sounds like you both agree whoever wins Denver and Minnesota will represent the West.
I think so. I mean, I would really, really, truly love to see Denver versus Dallas, just because I really want to see Luka and Jokic like go to each other with like ridiculous passes, ridiculous shots, ridiculous basketball, right? And like Kyrie and Murray, same thing, right? Like two like both of them are they're both like on the same level, both positions. That would be a lot of fun. I just don't think Minnesota is going to lose to Denver. I think that Denver is having. I think that they're having a depth issue.
Minnesota's perimeter defense is going to be very
so good.
hard.
So good. And Murray is not. Murray doesn't look like Murray of last season. That's the main thing. Something's either his leg is bothering him. I think he's got a calf or a hamstring injury that he's dealing with.
They can guard MPJ. They've got a guy who can guard MPJ, and Gobert and Cat can neutralize Aaron Gordon simply through size. He'll get his 2-3 back cuts a game and scores 8 points that way, but he won't be getting 10-15 rebounds again against them like he was against us, which was what really killed us. In the East, I really think New York's going all the way. I know this is crazy. They don't have Randall. I love Randall, but I think without Randall, you're seeing that they have no option but to put the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands, and that guy's playing great. They're so gritty. They're so gritty that it doesn't matter if they're not scoring. They're just tough enough to like get by the Celtics.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, Jamie.
I don't want the Celtics to go to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I know, but the Celtics are probably going to win number 18.
You know what, Tom? You've been wrong all day.
I hope I'm wrong about that.
I do too. We do not want Boston to be wasting banner, but I would have to, if I was gambling, I would definitely have to, be rolling with them now because they got an easier path to get there. So,
well, they got the best starting lineup in the league without a question.
Well, that's where I think there's a good 5-10 minutes in every game where the game swings, and can they survive that?
The problem is there are 2 big scorers aren't really the best one-on-one guys at the end of the game.
Porzingis might not be back.
And then they won't win.
Everybody's like Tatum Brown. I'm like, we've watched Tatum Brown in the playoffs.
I haven't heard anything on Porzingis. What's the latest?
He's out. He's out for several weeks.
Couple weeks. Yeah, they said a couple weeks. Similar injury to Giannis. So,
and Giannis was out from April 9th till he was out for like a month.
Bucks didn't have enough to survive without Giannis.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Celtics do either. Against who are they playing next? They're playing Orlando in theory, right? They'll play Orlando or Cleveland, one of those.
Yeah,
two,
they'll beat them. They'll beat them
too. Yeah. No matter which one of them comes.
I watched the Orlando Cleveland game. That was
good.
Yeah.
I just love to be able to trade D'Lo to Orlando. They need him so badly, but they got cap space too. So you need to somehow promise D'Lo that we'll take care of him if we can't trade you. Trade him at the deadline.
Darren, I harp on this all the time. People are like, oh, all Dwight and JaVale ever did was block out and let AD get the rebound. Yes, that's exactly what they did.
Well,
this is not rocket science. This point.
Not only that, but if you really understand the game, if everybody blocked out, we would get every rebound.
We would get more rebounds. We would never given up somebody's guys.
I mean, these guys are making millions of dollars a year, and they're standing around there. If any kid did that in one of my games, that kid would be on the bench so fast.
Well, I pity the kids on your coaching team. You're not shooting enough threes. I want to see you shooting 40 threes a game. And by the way, I'm a first-year coach and I'm a genius. Anyway, all right. I've got to go. I'm going to go to a kid's birthday party.
Okay,
I want to thank you, Rob, for coming on the show. Great hat.
Good to see you again, man.
And likewise, Laker Tom. Great hanging out with you and Jamie.
Thank you.
Jamie, get to that party.
That's right, man. Kids got to jump in a bounce house, so they're going to have a great time. So. And I'd like to thank the Laker Fast Break chat and all the Laker Fast Break family, Joe, Gerald, Nick, Stone.
Get ready for the JJ Redick hiring.
Just stop.
I can't wait till Tom turns on JJ Redick.
I don't think the Lakers have the budget for his hair products, so they probably can't. They probably can't handle his.
Well, he's got a lot of. They were going to pay more money, so
Well, all right. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure it's going to be an exhaustive coaching search, spanning the globe, and no stone unturned, just like the last four. All right, we'll see what happens. So anyway, thank you everybody. Have a great day and stay safe.
Bye-bye.